Hello and welcome to Free Speak. My name is Linda Bouman and I'll be your host today. Today we will be engaging in a very dynamic conversation reflecting on the media monitoring report. I am joined by the most known person in our country and also the person who is the guard between the media and the citizens. And he's none other than Mr. John Nakuta, also known as the media ombudsman in the country. John, welcome to the show, Free Speak Show. It's good to have you back, this time in this capacity as the media ombudsman. Welcome to our show.
Thank you very much for the invitation, Linda. And I'm not so sure whether I'm right, whether you were right in saying that I'm the most well-known person in the country.
You are our go-to human rights person, John, and the reflective reality around it is that Namibians know who John Nakuta and his credibilities and the integrity that he presents in our country.
Thank you very
so
much.
So please receive, just receive.
I'll take that as a compliment. Thank
So,
you.
John, this is a very important conversation that we're having for us as Namibians because your office is embarking on a very big project. And this big project is focused on media monitoring. What is this baby all about?
Okay. If you would allow me very briefly, Namibia is having a very unique code of ethics and conduct for the Namibian print, broadcast, and online media. It is being enforced since 2006, and it has been conceptualized by the editors under the umbrella of the EFN, the Editors Forum of Namibia, and Schedule 2 of this code breaks provision for the appointment of an independent institution called the Office of the Ombudsman, headed by the Ombudsman. And this clause, coming back to your specific question, there's a specific provision in this code, clause 6, that talks about during election time and during referenda periods, the media should report objectively and fairly and in an unbiased manner. And so very specifically, this 6.2 of the code is then very specifically directing them under the auspices of the media ombudsman to do that. And so as a way to proactively get journalists and media houses to comply with clause 6 of the act, to say that you must report in an unbiased manner, fair manner, and in a manner that doesn't discriminate between the various political parties, we embarked on this very unique election monitoring project. And I'm told it is the first time that we are doing such a monitoring project for elections in the country.
What exactly are you monitoring about elections? We know we're going to go vote.
Exactly.
So how do we move in understanding this particular process that you're embarking on?
It's actually a very important question, Linda. Basically what we're doing, and that probably also touch on the methodology. For this project, we have commissioned a private monitoring media monitoring company. What they are doing, they're looking at all media houses, both public and private, broadcast, print, and online even. So what we are doing on a monthly basis, we are capturing all election-related statements. So, for example, Party A would be having a rally. So, and this is being reported on by the NBC radio or TV, for example. And then what was this event all about? Who was the political party? And so forth. And at the end, and so obviously this happens for everyone, all the registered political parties. And then what happens then, at one point through technology, all these statements are then coded. And please don't ask me what coding means,
because
it's very technical. It's behind the scenes using computers and whatever. But through this coding, you can get a sense of where did this political party get its reporting from, what was the frequency that was given during the particular month to a political party. And so at the end of the day, we sit with data that can tell us exactly who covered the ruling party the most. Um, was it the television, or was it broadcast? Was it private, or was it public, and so forth? And what was the tone of most of these statements that was made in this report? Was it neutral? Was it positive, or was it negative? So at the end of the day, we are sitting with a data set. Uh, we almost use a very bad word on national television, but we sit with a minefield, that would be the right word, a minefield of data that is then analyzed in terms of percentages. And this raw data sets is then given to our main and lead consultant, Christy Kielder, who writes up for us the first report that give us an impression as to um, how did the media perform during this month, because the idea is to monitor and to track election related statements. We are not, and what we are saying also, we are focusing on editorial content. For example, what a media house has written about, but not advertorials, not political advertisements, and all those things. We are also not looking at on the radio, for example, phone-in programs or the SMS pages. Those are the exclusions that we have attached to this very
So
project.
how does this report impact on the progress and development of our country?
We hope it would, because the idea of this exercise is on a monthly basis. We are releasing what we've captured for this month and whatever, and hopefully this report would foster public discourse. In fact, we have seen with the first report that we've launched on the 28th of August, no, July, excuse me, 28th of July, front page news. Because what we found, for example, in the first report is that during the period, the 20th of June until the 20th of July, the ruling party received the lion's share of the reporting during that period.
So what does that say about the media houses themselves? Is there really balanced reporting?
We that is not what we're trying to say. It's like we are just saying from what the data tells us. And we are not saying they are biased towards the ruling
You're just
party.
calling them to responsibility in the sense
Exactly.
of
Be fair.
Be fair. Okay.
Be fair, because you may use a neutral norm in terms of whatever you're using, but the impact of this neutral norm that you're using as a way of policy provision may have bias effects, so to speak. But we've never said they are biased towards the ruling party, because what we also found is that the ruling party during the first report mainly received reporting from the state-owned media. For example, that is the NBC and New Era, and that is what the data shows. And when it comes to the LPM, it's basically the same trend that we have seen. The LPM political party received most of its reporting or reportage during this period, also from the state-owned media houses.
Just to go a little bit, I haven't read properly or detailed the report, but I want to know, doesn't that play a role in terms of, it could be that the political parties are not as visible, so whatever information media houses are getting, they're running with it, or should it be a co-responsibility to ensure that political parties, including the ECN as the overarching custodian, gives information to the media so that the media is able to create that access to information, or should media houses be the ones to go after?
Actually, Linda, is really a very important observation that you've made, because one of our findings was also that what we've seen, there's a lack of agenda setting from of course, primarily from the political parties. They don't have any specific outreach to the media, for example. It appears to us that no political party is having a very specific media campaign for the elections, for example. But likewise, as you said, it's a two-edged sword. It also it seems that the media, the journalists, are also not going out of their way to create a story around a specific issue, which they then would want the political parties probably then to comment on. So it's one thing that we've picked up in the first report. There's this lack of agenda setting because, and someone asked during our media release, is that what do you mean with agenda setting? And we said basically what we mean is that all of us are complaining that elections in Namibia are not agenda. It's not based on any substantive issues. We are still busy, or we're still voting along tribal lines, identity politics, and all those kind of things. But we are not issue driven. And hopefully, through this, we are thinking, or we want to inform the kind of public discourse that we want to see, because it was so difficult to categorize, for example, the particular kind of issues that political parties are focusing on all over the place. You would have wanted it during an election here, the issue of gender equality and women empowerment would be one
forefront.
particular issue that is up front, but it's really not. So, for example, and I'm going to talk later in another session on the second monthly report, on the issue of gender, we there was nothing significant to report on, and that's why we left for that month out, because there's nothing. It
But
was not an
doesn't
issue.
it even have to do with us Namibians setting our own agenda? Because our agenda to political parties are basic needs. And never talk about the intersectional relations of gender, because that's an aftermath. Because I am also wondering myself, why is the in-depth conversations around GBV, that is a big thing, doesn't come out as a priority? But I can also understand it could be an overarching issue, but the prominency of reporting is not there.
But that's exactly the point. That was when we and you asked a question around democracy. The media plays a very important role in the whole democratic dispensation. It is not for nothing that the media is referred to as the fourth estate. So the media is having this responsibility to uphold that fourth pillar of democracy, get the nation to engage critically and constructively on gender equality and women empowerment issues, LGBTQ issues, whatever the case may be, tribalism. Tribalism seems to be is becoming a big thing in Namibia, but you don't read about it. It's not an election issue, it's a side issue, and one would have hoped that these kind of things would have received much more prominence in the elections. But what we've picked up in the first report, unfortunately, there's no common general theme that seems to be driving the elections.
John, the term media monitoring sounds so big. If I'm just sitting in the street of, I'm from a Vamba location, so if I sit on the street and I say, Jens, there's this media monitoring report that is coming out, how can I, as an ordinary citizen, make use of this report to also own it and be able to react to the issues around that?
Right. What we're doing is that for each one of the monthly reports that we are bringing out, we are working on a fact sheet that is written in layman's language, and hopefully we would get it published with the help of the Namibian Sun on Tuesday, coming Tuesday. We would be having, if everything works according to plan, the main findings and the key messages that we've picked up from the first monthly report. And we will do the same, and hopefully the public would then begin to see, okay, this is the trend, this is the key messages, and so forth. In addition to that, I must say, and I must give credit to the NMT for having come on board. The NMT is running with the the
Production.
media visibility campaign strategy, kind of, to get the message out. So it is one thing to capture and to monitor and to track, But if the people are not aware, so NMT is trying then to get us, especially on the online space, also to get these key messages out and spread across the various social media platforms like TikTok, Facebook. The other day I was sitting at one of your, is it youth quakes?
Yes.
I was listening and I was actually so surprised, but also sad actually. One young lady asked the electoral commission lady, it's like, why do you have your things available on Facebook? We don't look, we don't watch Facebook. We are not
So are you
old.
saying we're going to see the media ombudsman doing some TikTok jives
No,
and
not
all of
me.
that?
It's just you'll see some of the what do you guys call it? Jingles,
Jingles and all of
all
that,
these things. It would certainly be also on Facebook, TikTok, and so forth. But the main report, and we are doing the final editing towards it, coming back to your question, in terms of how can the ordinary person engage with us, it would soon be available on at least on our Facebook page. And if everything goes well, ultimately on the website of the Office of the Media Ombudsman.
If you've just joined us, you're listening to Free Speak, brought to you by Namibia Media Trust. Today we're joined by the Media Ombudsman, Mr. John Nakuta, who's unpacking his project that he's running from his office around media monitoring and the impacts of the reports that has been released. So far, the Media Ombudsman's office is in the process of releasing their second report. John, I'm curious to know... what's the level of buy-in of media houses into your report analysis?
We were so shocked on the Friday after we've launched the, I suppose the 30th of August, because we've launched or released rather, we've released the first report on the 28th of August, July, excuse me, 28th of July.
Yes.
Right.
And the next one comes out now for August. You're in
Yes.
the process of doing August.
Exactly.
Now. Okay.
Yeah. So 2 days there late after the release of the first monthly report, an editorial in the New Era, scathing, very, very critical of this report, questioning the methodology, questioning the motive behind it, saying certain people want to reach politically high offers and stuff and all. Very scathing. But also reading it, you could pick up that there's some inaccuracies and whatever there's. So what I've done on that Sunday, I've invited the editor of the New Era out. We had an hour-long discussion where I discuss the rationale behind this, the need for doing this, saying Namibia is not the only country doing this. In fact, the need to do such an exercise flows from, as I said, the code. And also the African Commission on Human and People's Rights directly calls on those regulatory bodies of the media, such as ours, to begin to do such kind of monitoring. And so I've explained the methodology to him. And yeah, he understood it. And we see now there's much more receptiveness rather, from the editors. And of course, I suppose no one wants to be criticized. But as media, we are quick to criticize. And I'm just saying, come on, this exercise is not a policing exercise. And you've mentioned it, it's an opportunity to self-reflect and to self-correct. And this is really what we want to do, because we are in this together. Democracy is at stake. Yeah.
So as much as media houses, and I think they have the right to be critical around it, because that's what you want.
Exactly.
The idea of a report is
Yes.
to give analysis and have people be critical and reflective. That
Yes.
basically means your office is doing a good job at the end of the day, because once you do not have critics over the work you do,
Yes, of course.
it means that it's a slide through. And the reason why I asked that question is because I'm thinking about the responsibility of media houses to promote or create visibility around your reports. Did you, because we're heading into a second report now, the first one, did it get a bit of media mileage in the different media, print or broadcast or online?
I must say I was very, very impressed and satisfied with the kind of coverage that the first report got so far. NBC Radio, NBC Television, Desert Radio had a very informative. Is it was CJ?
Yes.
I was part of a discussion that, of course,
It's on the 40
moderated.
run, 40-minute run.
Yes,
Yes.
it was with me. Of course, CJ was moderating, but myself, uh, Dr. Santos from NAST, and I don't know, I can't remember who was the third person, someone from a political background, Rui. It's like very critical engagement and whatever the case may be. And so it was really good, well received. And so hopefully we will have the same kind of media outreach with the second report.
John, we are heading on the end of our program. I just want to know what the next steps are regarding the media monitoring report.
Yeah, just to say to the nation, it's like there are 4 more reports coming out. The idea is to monitor the media in terms of what they are doing during all phases of the elections. And that is the pre-phase where we are now. And of course, there's the election phase, but also we will also monitor the post-election phase after the announcement of the election. So the nation must be aware of it, look out for the reports, engage with the report. The idea is to foster public discourse.
Can we have access to you as citizens to be able to discuss the report with you?
Very much so. In fact, someone on the first report, I think the Monday or Tuesday, there was an SMS in the Namibian page, and someone called to say, "Wow, this is a good project that you guys are doing. The nation need this." The person got my number in the newspaper because, as the media ombudsman, there's this number, and it's my personal number. But yes, we talk about access to information, and this is part of being accessible and accountable to what you or for what you are doing, and to stand. If it's wrong, it's wrong, and people want to criticize, it's fine, because by nature I'm a critical person. Constructively, I would suppose, but you can't want to be critical for other things, but you don't want to be criticized for things that you yourself are also doing. Yeah.
So, John, any final words to our listeners out there?
Not really. Maybe
And
I
or
should.
viewers, put it in that way.
Yeah. Maybe not. I've said already to the general
And
viewers.
where online can we find you?
I'm
You have
unfortunately old school.
I'm not talking about you in person, but of
Yeah.
course the media.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a website?
Yeah.
Or something?
Yeah. We do have a website. I really don't have now the website details, but we do certainly have the Office of the Media Ombudsman, and I'm sure what we can do as a service also to make this podcast to be available. You give the website of the Media Ombudsman at the end as a way to promote this, I would say. But yes, we are available. The reports would be available. The fact sheets that we are producing is available. I forgot to say, they are saying, as one of the things that we are doing, I hope I'm still having time to just mention this.
Yes.
We have realized this project is so organic. We have realized that everyone is complaining that the newsroom is full of junior people that have never covered an election during their lifetime. In fact, some of them are first voters, and so some of them would be the first one to, as media practitioners, actually, young voters, and this will be their first as journalists to report on. So what we are doing also as a byproduct of this project is to develop, and in fact we've done it already, we got academics to develop for us a guidance note on election reporting for journalists. On Friday, we would be discussing it with editors to comment, and with journalists to comment on the draft. And the idea would be to get it endorsed by the appointing authority, and that is the EFN. And once the EFN endorses that 3-4 pager guidance note on election reporting, we will then officially launch it for journalists throughout the country on how to report in an ethical manner on elections.
That basically means that there will be a guide, but also at the same time, people will have information on how to be ethical and principled in the work that they do.
In the context of election reporting.
Yes. So, and that will be prior to November, right?
No, this is at the beginning of October.
Of October.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, you've just heard the voice of Mr. John Nakuta, media ombudsman, who has been speaking about the media monitoring reports that his office is working on, and how those reports impact the reporting over elections, and the importance also about how journalists should take responsibility, but also have that ethical responsibility to be able to report, but yet also ensure that it's objective and fair within the diversity and representation of political representation in this country. On that note, my name is Linda Bouman. We've come to the end of our program today, Free Speak, brought to you by Namibian Media Trust. We will definitely ensure that you can get all the contact details of the Media Ombudsman, but the main thing is you can find him immediately online, which is www.mediaombudsman.org.na. And also, if you check the print media, he's always somewhere in a corner there, and his details are there, because media houses are taking serious their commitment to the code of ethics, but also to the office of the media house, to the office of the media ombudsman. On that note, thank you very much, and do have a pleasant day ahead.